Okay. Things are looking... No. No. They almost look better for like 2 seconds, and then they went red again. Maybe... Is it working? If 1 FPS is so generous. That is so mean. Yeah, but the issue, Jail Beliki, is that I would like to like actually interact with you guys, not just like do a solid like 6 hours video, because I guess I could do that, but it wouldn't be like so fun for me, and neither it will be like so fun for you. So yeah, regarding quality assurance, let's do at least a couple. Oh. And oh, it can't reach the geyser. But yeah, it can't reach the actual mineral patch because the workers were always trying to mine from here, so the teach tanks won't give trouble. This area seems very tricky. No. Oh. Whoa. I'm sure you guys see it, right? Like here, here, here. Swap those two for pylons, and you got like a sick cannon rush spot. Oh, just like Cloud Kingdom, but worse. Really? It's okay? That's actually incredible. Like, okay? It is a, like... Okay? Or okay? Yeah, it probably was like... It probably was the... anytime you could do have done mine earlier. What's the name? What's the name? Name of the map. Like, that's exactly why I wanted. That's exactly why I wanted you guys. Like, in order to tell me feedback in which maps do you will prefer to be like prioritized. Hallucinati, which maps will you prefer? Which of yours? I downloaded literally like every single map that we had in our document, so I could do a mildly good job without needing to like download every single map. So Hallucinati, which map of yours would you like me to review if you gotta go to work? Birth of Tragedy. Yeah, yeah. Is it like... No. There is no naming here. Birth of Tragedy isn't showing up. Maybe the name file that you placed isn't the same as the actual map name. Because I downloaded every single map, I am running like a huge folder with all of the maps. Oh, ho, ho. Do you see? Do you see exactly why I started with the feedback thing? Okay. So to begin, this is Derelict, a map by Hallucinanti. Oh yeah, it's this one. Yeah, the one where I didn't really like because it looks like detached from like no. I don't want to like spend too much time in aesthetics when we have like these kind of issues. But yeah, the main thing here is that obviously there is like a huge swath of areas that are pathable, like exactly behind the main bases. You can, for example, I will recommend you, Hallucinati, to open the map in the editor. And I'm not sure if the resolution now works, but try to take like a screenshot of these settings that I have copied in here and implement those settings into your own editor when it comes to pathing. In this case, you're clearly like trying to learn the pathing tool. Uh, Try to learn like all of the hotkeys that you will see in here. For example, to show the grid, to show the placement grid, to show the pathing, the terrain, all of that. For example, you can press Shift D to hide and show the terrain, or Shift D to hide and show the doodad, and to press B to show the map as it will be like in an in-game situation, or press B again to show it as it will work in the editor. Okay, so first we go to 8 and hide all of the areas that are like not paintable, because that obviously the first thing you need to make the map playable at least. Every single, even those little ones, I would prefer it to just hide them, because you never know that wherever the map passes through Blizzard quality assurance, you never know if the guys will like kind of screw it up and maybe they will create a little pocket based on those. It has happened in the past. Is the stream working fine? Just to be sure. So yeah, we hide all of those little things. When it comes to layout itself, uh, there are some spacing issues. I just moved all of this 1x to the top. Main bases. When it comes to, for example, distances and all of that, if you want, you can, for example, I'm trying to think, because the guy that knows at the moment the best distances is Avex. He has like he has them like right down somewhere, and he's always like somebody that is like more on top the current meta game than, for example, I am, because I've been like retired from like actually working solidly on maps for a while now, so I'm kind of detached from all of that. When it comes, for example, to main base design, this little pocket, I will like just hide them out of this little terrain, just in order to create like a more solidly shaped main base more than anything else. Because having like some protruding shape, even when like it helps you to create like to use the space more efficiently, is not really something beneficial gameplay wise. It's always better to, for example, have some base that is shaped like those that Negative Zero or New Sunshine like to do, over having one that is like kind of awkwardly shaped, because players will always try to abuse like those kind of spots, like dropping into the back of the main and running units up and down, and that's like incredibly annoying for the players. For mineral line positioning, these little patches usually go this way, like this. When it comes to actual patches, remember that the 900s will always go in the far away position. Oh, this is another thing. Control F. Yeah, you have got this. This one will go here, and that one, it will go like this. So always the 900 mineral patches go in the far away position, and the 1500 go in the forward position closer to the town hall for every single mineral line ever. And try to make them symmetrical. So you end up with things like this. So they mined out from all the places at the same time. When it comes, for example, to natural positioning, it is always usually better for ramps and whatnot. This area is like slightly little awkward, so I will like try to increase the area in here. Something like this. Something like that. And try to create like, instead of having 2 ramps, probably try to make them 1. Just in order to optimize everything. I perfectly understand why there was two ramps, but try to make them, if you are not gonna make them like that, at least try to make them something like this, where the 2 ramps are the same diagonal in the cliff line. That way you will be using the space more efficiently in your map. When it comes to this, always be careful of like liberator spot, especially for example in PvC where Terran, or in PvT where Terran loves to fly like a single liberator when range in the late game and just like leave it in there and just kill everything, especially when doing base races and whatnot. Those kind of features will always end up skewing a map towards Terran win rates, no matter basically what you do. When it comes to cliffing like this, it is my personal preference to do something akin like this than to have the cliff line, because it reinforces the position for anybody trying to take this base. They would prefer to take it if it works like this, and than if it has the cliff line, because the cliff line will obviously block the vision side. So you will end up in a situation where an army can like just ramp up. It makes it more easily defensible, which is always something needed for third bases in Legacy of the Void. Center mains are really hard to execute. Yeah, especially so. Yeah, because you don't have the lots of space, and you need to optimize them very well. But even here, for example, with this little change, remove, for example, that cliffs, that gave the main base like a considerable amount of space. I think it was ICL, ESIL, the one that had like a very good like map with this kind of main bases. Check out his submissions in the Team Blue Cup thread. He had some very cool ideas with a similar map based on this style. So one of the issues with this kind of map, this is a thing for the challenge itself. Like you will have your attack path will always be problematic, because in late game it allows for players to have like too easy. The map will become easily splittable, and that is not something that can be escaped. That is a feature key of the Scott mission itself. It is not something that I particularly enjoy, because I always prefer maps. Always, basically, will prefer maps from a map making perspective, where you have more than just 3 pathways. For example, try to increase the amount of pathways that are like independent of each other, from crossing one side to the other. Having 3 is like the bare bones, absolute minimum that you can have in order to have like not a map that can be split like that so easily. Regarding all of this, one thing that has been changing in the last, I don't know, like year and a half, probably more, is that we have become like much more, not hateful, but like understanding of using like diagonal ramp, cardinal ramp, such as this one. So this ramp in the past will have been like something that I would like rallied so much against, but this one is like, it's like considerably well executed. So there is not much that I can tell you regarding this. It's not that I love it, but it works well for your design. It gives a good flow. This little spacing here is not particularly useful, so I will just cut it out and give more weight to this pathway instead of having like a run-by positioning here. Run-bys in StarCraft are always so dangerous. That is something that is intrinsic to the game itself. So trying to control those kind of pathways is always important. One thing that you should probably try to work more on, Hallucinati, is cliff lines. A more solid cliff style, because that will help you a considerable amount, not only in order to make it more pretty, unquote, but in order to use the space of the map more efficiently. It will force you to be more understanding of what features you are adding and which features you are not. So that's something that I have been trying to like tell people more about. Something like this. You are earning like a huge amount of space just by doing this kind of little cliff lines improvement. Regarding texturing, you did well, like using highly contrasting styles for every single level. Though I will disagree with, for example, the patches of glass like here and there, mostly from a aesthetic perspective. I don't think that they look like particularly pretty, but that's something like for me personally. I will do something more akin of what I personally did in that map of mine. I literally forgot the name. Yeah, no, I forgot the name. My goal was to, yeah, that's always very true. Like, you will always try to discourage map splitting because those are not particularly fun scenarios for the player base to be in. But yeah, like the challenge itself was like so tricky in order to avoid like this kind of scenarios. The turrets themselves, I'm not sure how useful. This is something that I have been seeing like everybody was doing, but I'm not sure it's like the best usage of the turrets themselves. Like try to do like this spot with lots of them. I think that this is something that as the torrents age and we like get more used to them, we'll like not do this kind of stuff, because at this point it's just basically an air blocker more than anything else. An air blocker that is like worse than actual air blocker, because it actually kills the unit instead of just discouraging their movement around that area. Regarding something more general, mineral lines, it's alright. Always try to swap those. Oh, I forgot how to swapping here. Uh, uh, well, no, I always try to do something like this instead of the other way around, because the workers they just pass better around this particular setup of mineral line. I'm not sure. Is there any particular thing that you might want to review of the map itself? The assets usage can be like seriously improved. Try to use like a smaller pool of assets, and you use those more repeatedly. That will give the entire map a more like standardized vibe than just using like some assets here and there from like different. That's something that, for example, I or Avex or ICL or Negative Zero like do like a considerable amount. Oh, stream went down. Tidan was concerned that there was too much drop space in the main. Yeah, specifically for this type of layout, and the turrets do like stop that considerably. But the issue is that while doing that, at that point, I'm not sure if they like actually help, because they are like so clearly a band-aid to something that is structurally bad with the layout itself, but at the same time we put you in the position where you will need to create this map in this particular fashion. So at that point I think it will be just better to have like lost air blocker, something like that. But this one is like so dangerous. So many units will like actually get killed. For example, a Protoss being like careless with their Colossi or something like that, or with their War Prism like microing some units around here. But that's something that we will need to like iron out as we age with the turrets themselves. But yeah, is there anything particular about the map itself? Because if we're going to go like this way for every single map, we will be here for for decades. Derelict, memory lane. So yeah, as a main point, try to use like a systemic single cliff style that will seriously improve not only your ability to create maps, but to your ability to use space more efficiently. Um, mm, Aesthetic wise, there is the grass thing, the mineral lines. Try to use the, the 900 mineral patches to the back and the 1500s in the front. When it comes to the Bespin geysers, they are well positioned, at least in this map. One thing that I always like recall telling map makers is to try to use something like this in the main bases. So whatever Zerg has like a single overlord, that overlord can see. So the Zerg player can at least see 3 Vespian geysers, not at any time, but like maybe risk an overlord so they can spot stuff, and that way not outright die to any single like alien from Terran or Protoss. What else? I think that is like at least the basic line for this map. Birth of Tragedy. Yeah, surprised that they allowed to spam turret. That's true. Yeah, it is not this usage of turret. There was a map that teammate made that was very interesting. I found it very compelling. He was using the turret to block a semi-cold Iceland base. I really forgot the name of the moment, so we won't be able to find it. How is the stream working? Is it like alright or possible or maybe not? Well, the first thing instantly here is we go into the pathing area and you will see that there is like lots of little spaces that need to be taken care of. The second thing is that obviously the cliff once again strike again. Your usage of space, it is not the best. And your spacing of the main base and everything. For example, all of this area could have been like expanded on. Oh, why isn't it working? Oh, I see why now. Okay. So, usage of space isn't the best. Yeah, no, I'm not going to tell you that to not do this, but it's like kind of a pain to fix it right now. Okay. There it is. It was a good idea though. So, in order to have your theme work better. So yeah, this mineral line, I will use a mineral line like this one instead. Push it forward to here a little bit. Obviously try to avoid like siege tanks being like able to abuse the spot too much. Something like this will be better, but obviously with better cliffing and everything. Then you can take space from here. Yeah, it is not gonna work. Okay. Take some space from here. Maybe push this mineral line a little bit back more, so it is not so exposed to any army coming from here. All of this area seems rather alright, but for example for late game armies it will be like very problematic, because late game armies in, for example, Legacy of the Void need a considerable amount of space in order to maneuver and in order to, for example, to flank. That is a very like quasi game breaking feature for Zerg. They always need like a flanking option nowadays in Legacy of the Void. If they don't have a single flanking option for these kind of scenarios, then they are basically dead, because they just can't really deal with all of the splash. Aesthetic, it is the same thing as the previous one. There is a considerable amount of detached asset. I will recommend you to create like a single pool of asset, and you just a single limited pool of asset, and you just pick out of that pool of assets and dress the entire map that way. That will create a more coherent visual theme for the entire map. Other thing is that the mains and naturals, even when they like look all right regarding, for example, your tile set, I will try to advise you to use, for example, this theme that you are using in the central high grounds, to also use them in the natural base, because they are in the same height and the same terrain height, and that will make it more visually clear for players that are trying to learn the map and trying to understand how the map works from like an overview or from something else. In this area as well, it would have been better if the ramp were like a cardinal one. This is so weird to say, because cardinal ones were so hated because they not only look awful, but they actually like kind of play badly. So try to make it a strong visual distinction from different terrain height. What is okay? Something like that. Okay. Some barnacle. Something like that. Try to add, for example, some staircase. They do that one for the ramp. That way will make it even clearer that there is a ramp in that place. Yeah, the stream is like not in a very good position. Even I think that I'm not sure if it's even worth it to like continue to stream. What do you guys think? Do you think that it would be better for me to create like actual videos or to continue to stream? Because I don't think that is working quite really fine. I kind of disagree, but alright. So, okay, that will be like the basic review, at least for like details and whatnot. For the layout itself, it kind of works. It kind of works. I kind of like the layout itself. Um, Obviously, you will have your main attack path. One key thing to learn when doing like actual layouts and whatnot is that it's always preferable to have like an attack path that meets with your opponent's pathway. I'm not sure. No, it won't show. But for example, I'm not sure if even with the low frame rate you guys can follow the cursor or not. For example, the having this little doodad in here kind of screws the whole thing, because when you have two different attack, two different oh, when you have two different attack paths, armies tend to miss each other, and that can be extremely dangerous in StarCraft 2. And for example, for an esport game where you have two armies completely miss each other and it ends up in a completely non-climatic, completely anticlimactic like base race, that is always like not such a good thing. So I will try to advise you from a very like high level understanding of the map to try to make the map, try to change this entire area and make it something akin to more to Catalyst, something like that, just in order to have players not have their armies miss each other, because that's not not a very good meme from an esport position, something like this. Also, try to avoid using this texture with this. I will recommend you to use something like the char swamp sand, the very very fine one. Instead, it will create like a more compelling like visual thing. Uh, uh, yeah, that would be like a very small on quote, a very small on quotes repetition of the map. Holy spaghetti bath. Yeah, Team Look at Map Contest 13. Sadly. Yeah, they will probably take longer. Like, I could probably make like a series of videos, encode them, edit them. That takes so long. So what do you guys will prefer, Miavis? Would you guys prefer like some streams? Maybe I could even stream, but tomorrow in the night, something like that. Because I really don't like that the stream has like such awful quality to it. Do you see it? Fast of that. Who made this? I have no idea. Well, That is something that shouldn't be there. That as well. I think that this was... I have no idea. My guess it was done by Monitor. Let's see. No, it was done by Superhuman. Probably. Like the cliffing is alright. Maybe this area shouldn't be like that. Something like that. No, it looks bad. It was better before. The cliffing is like very, very good. Something like the hallucinati. This is like some very solid cliffing. That is one of the benefits. Like whatever I used to not recommend people to like focus on cliffing so much, but this like last couple years, I have been like recommended it more and more because it really helps to people to understand the spacing of the map itself, and that is such a important skill. La Playa or Riyadh. Okay. I have a suggestion. Can you please talk about the maps that almost made it? That came close, especially why they didn't make it in the end. Behind the winners were they doing better? Those that came close. Yeah, we're looking at the entire pool, Team A. Like, or will you prefer to me to look at just the finalists? La Playa or Riot? But yeah, that is exactly why. Oh, also, don't do this thing. You guys see it? Don't, please. If you do that, your map will get disqualified instantly. La Playa is not opening though. Okay, there it is. Maybe we can jump in boy. Jump in the Discord. Update log, roles integration emoji, what the... There was a way to decrease. No. I just look at it and instantly know that it won't work. The internet is like way too sloppy. So, okay. Meavis. Fix your fucking cliffs, dude. Jesus Christ. Like that. Easy. So easy. Now the map will become a Team Rocket map finalist just by that. Okay. Nope. It was good before. Okay, so... God damn it. Stop. Okay, there it is. Well, to begin, there is no Reaper path. Second thing, these little high grounds are probably too small, so wherever an Overlord drops on, like tries to park on top of them, Marines, the high ground itself sometimes bugs out, so Marines can shoot at the Overlord. That is bad, like really, really bad. So much so that even I will recommend you to add like some line of, like invisible line of sight blockers, like this. Teammate hates me for this, but I literally am just improving the game, okay? So just do that. Something like that. In order to avoid the line of sight blockers bugging out, you add, god damn it, just a little bit of pathing around the little thing. But like but well done, not like this. Something like that. And that will make your map beloved by all the stack judges, such as myself. Something like that. Now any overlord that drops that backs in here will be safe and sound, at least for a little while until like a Stalker or Marine shows up here. But yeah. Checking the map itself. You need to fix this and make it so there is a contrast between this terrain level and this one. Here as well. Well, your do that usage sucks, but that's okay. I still like love you. The water needs to have like a fade, and it needs to have caustic. I have no idea which water you use. No idea. But yeah, fix the water. This is all right. This is all right. There was some discussion in the regarding the islands bases because they still like help Terran increasingly so over the other races. Always, always, and that is not something that can be like easily fixed. Maybe try to make like a pathway from here to here. Oh, oh. I'm just throwing ideas. Maybe something like into this. It would like actually kind of help. Oh, also try to make something like this. So that way players have like an impulse to like actually pass through this little pathway. This is so sick though. I always love this kind of Loki like little choke points in the center of the map that only allow for small armies to pass. That has always been so interesting to me. The map is very solid, but you really need to fix the different terrain height. Like no matter what, this is like not a discussion. It's something that needs to be corrected. All of this, I don't think it is acceptable. It is too much noise in the main bases. For example, imagine a widow mine hidden in there. That's not good, dude. Can you please some pro tip for creating maps? Look at my other projects of the plugin. I'm still an amateur. Adimax, we have a Discord channel. Invite people. Oh no, I just invited somebody that I don't know. Adimax, there it is for you to join. We have a huge amount of tutorials and whatnot. Teammate has a series, a YouTube series, and Meavis in the chat, that the guy that is typing, also has a video series. So you can watch those, and you will learn a huge amount from zero to hero, my dude. Also, these kind of little cliffs things, those are like no good, Meavis. Fix them, something like that. Oh, I just screwed it up more. Okay, now it's fixed. What? What is going on in here? Oh, I just saw what is going on in here. Uh-huh. Well, now it is more fixed than before. Okay, that is good. No. Also, the buildings. I'm shitting on Miyabi so much. The buildings need to be like in a 45-degree angle, all of them, for them to look good. Otherwise, they look like shit. Okay, all of this looks like shit. They need to be in a 45-degree angle, all of them. If you don't, then your map gets disqualified. Okay. No, bullying to the max. this looks alright, but still, it really needs to be very, it's like stupidly clear, like 85 IQ clear, that this is not the same terrain height as this. Okay, this is probably too big. It looks fine. I don't like it, but it looks fine. But it needs to be like probably slightly smaller, because it is taking too much real estate space terrain in the map center. The a couple judges have issues that the map didn't allow, for example, for a mildly safe like 6 base. I think that is a bunch of bollocks, because this map is like particularly aggressive, especially once the first initial bases have been taken. I will still try to fix the Iceland though, and try to use better this space. I fully understand what you are going for. The map works kind of alright, but maybe you could use the little dockyard, the new Legacy of the Void one from the campaign, from the Nova campaign, and made like kind of what the music did on his map with the walk, or like what Stidian did, in order to make it fit better in the aesthetic of everything. Also, don't mix white sand with yellow sand. It doesn't look all that good. Use the dark white sand instead. What else? What else? Yeah, the main should have foliage. Not do that. That's probably true. Don't use, like, kids. Don't do this. Something like that. Yeah. Remember the river path. Otherwise, like, Nathanias will hunt you down and just get you. He will sell you as a sex slave in like some day, in like Thailand or something like that. He will sell you as a sex slave for Elon Musk. Something like that. Or that guy, the guy that saved the little Thai kid, that Elon Musk called him a pedo. Well, he will sell you to that guy. Okay. So don't do that. No. Yeah, right. Oh yeah. This will be looking fine. Increase the saturation of the lighting, because we're in a beach. God damn it. Art and data. Where is the light? Okay. Oh my god, I will need to check this again. Terrain. Okay, there it is. So this is a trick that will get you in the Team Blue Kit Math contest finalist. Okay. Only I, and Avex, and ICL know it. Not even teammates know it. Okay. So you go here. If you can't see, if your data editor doesn't show up like this, you need to press this little button, okay, until it does. Maybe if it looks like this or like this, well, no, that's a good one. But yeah, if it looks like this, just press like these little buttons that are in here until it shows like this, okay, and then you will be happy forever. So we go and try to find the lightning, El Secaro. Okay, go to view, and then we click here to modify the light in the Secaro lightning. Okay, then this shows up with different tones and whatnot. If you move any of this, even like a pixel, then your lightning becomes fucked up, okay? So don't do it. You need to go to colorization, a little tab in here. I'm not sure how this is showing in a stream. And when it says colorize, you just do it, you just change it to 0 or 0.5 or 0.1, something like that. Then you minimize it, and then things will look, god damn it, it isn't working. I'm not sure why it isn't working, but yeah, something like that. Oh, Yeah, there it is. Do you see? Now everything is so pretty. The saturate it just this just increases the lighting saturation. So everything will look like very, very bright and saturated. Something like, you know, kind of like how beaches look. Okay. So this is a trick. Do you see, for example, now you can actually like notice things. Okay. So let's check the pathfinding so we can stroke Meavi's ego a little bit because I know that he put works into this. Do you see? This is a no, no, no. You fucked up, my dude. You fucked up. You fucked up. Okay. Yep. Yep. You fucked up. Okay. No. Still no. Okay. There it is. Now it's like an actual like pristine freaking map. This is what I wish the quality assurance for Blizzard will do. Okay. So talking about actual layouts stuff instead of like spending time doing these memes. Third base looks alright. Fourth base is alright because this map was submitted to the macro category, if I recall correctly. If it isn't, then that's why it got disqualified because this is a macro map. Yeah, players like some of the judges didn't like that the map didn't have like an actual like kind of easy sixth base. I don't think that's something very smart to say, but okay. Yeah, I agree. Fix the little things in the visuals. Fix this. Make this like a rather easy sixth base, and you will probably become a finalist. This is actually like kind of a good map. Besides all of the other things that I said that it was because, yeah. Um. Oh, this this is wasting too much space. I think it could be trimmed at least to a high degree. All of this. This is spending too much space that you don't have. Something like that. Maybe this as well. Try to create more open areas in the map because that is something that is lacking. Areas and like places where you can make surrounds and attacks. For example, you could make this like some kind of low ground, and then you could have some ramps leading to it, so you can allow for slightly easier surrounds. Maybe even remove this base. Yeah, I think that is basically all for it. Any other map that you guys? Yeah, map is way too chunky at the moment. Try to create some more open spaces, especially in the city area. What else? But yeah, overall it's like not. It is a solid map. It's a little bit chunky, but that's all right. Team A, which map? You are thinking you are thinking you are not thinking it well. It doesn't matter what the average thing is. It is like if I have $1 billion and you have two average, we have like half $1 billion each. But that is not how the thing works in the real life. You need to have some open areas and some very tight ones. Like think for example like Superhuman will make his maps with the little bridges and whatnot. Not just like an average of everything. Not just everything averaged out, but you need some open areas and some tight bridges. Something like this. Mixed together to create like some good spacing and whatnot. Not just the average of everything. What else? Oh yeah, I think that is all for it. Is there anything else more specific that you would like me to check? Yeah, but uh, come on, teammate, don't be so mean. Uh, uh, uh. Okay, I will choose out of our random pool of randomness. Let's go to standard bandwidth. I don't know which map is this or who made them, but we will find out. Also, if you guys would like me to review any map from you, just type it out in the chat. Teammate, for example, which maps would you like me to check? I used to get it. I am, okay? I am the most qualified, probably. But beyond me, I'm not sure. This was done by the music. I just instantly know it. It is based clearly on Coda, or at least has some reminiscence of it. Cliffing is very good. Maybe, yeah, no, it is alright. Cliffing it is very good. Mineral lines are alright. This little overlord pod is excellent. It is very well positioned because it allows for Terran to, it allows for Zerg to like kind of oversee a little bit, or maybe sacrifice the overlord, or for Terran to do counterplays against it. This texturing is great. I really like his do that usage and everything. His decal usage with the little numbers. It would be even better if he made them so they actually mean something with the lore of the map and whatnot. It is kind of what I wish Hesperium, one of my old maps, would have looked like. Maybe not quite, because Hesperium had a different feel to it. This little bridge, I think it would benefit from being open actually, or maybe not. That's tricky. It's tricky. It allows for both. This little center might be slightly too choked up, so maybe cut this. Not cut this, but cut this little area. Oh, how about do that? Okay, something like that. Not entirely sure. That makes the center like slightly more open, but at the same time it removes this choke point that was mildly interesting. The third bases are probably too exposed. Probably like by a considerable margin. Something like this with some 6x6 debris. Something like that, especially for today's like player base that really likes the easy thirds with Legacy of the Void. Something like this. Not necessarily adding like the debris. I'm just adding it as an example in order to showcase how the openness changes of the third bases. Maybe something like that even, to allow for an easy wall off in there. What do you guys think actually? I mean, yeah, the maps look pretty cool. Like the music has some very good aesthetics, and when this is mixed with the bluish tiles, X tiles, oh wow, I hadn't noticed this. It is actually not completely seamless. They kind of screw it up, but that's okay. The color palette and everything is very well used. Superhuman should have judged instead. What kind of maps? Oh, listen, I love him, but I'm not sure like he will be like the best judge ever, especially with his tastes on like how extreme map might be. The players, the player base itself, like wouldn't be like particularly happy. Uh, um. Okay, so that's I guess bandwidth. The map itself, it is actually like very sick, but it has this kind of details that might be like too big for the player base to pass on. The third is probably to expose something like the that map that Avex made. I'm really like forgetting every single map name. It's awful. Sovereign that had like a slightly too open third, and the players and the other judges that were players like just ram up, like really dislike it because of that. This ramp is also probably too large, especially for what will be like a pocket base. Something like that might be better. Maybe even push it a little bit further back in order to allow for a bigger pathway for like armies to pass across. These bases are like well sized with the ramps and everything. It's actually like very good. The choosing to have to do sets of rocks instead of one in this position is actually very beneficial because it increases considerably the amount of time that players will need to destroy in order to actually have an open pathway. It's something that I really like. This ramp is correctly sized. It has a very good size and it's well positioned. I might maybe push it further a single tile, something like that, north a little bit. But in the position that it holds currently, it is like very well, a very clear and extremely clear like river path, river jump path. That is excellent. A good amount of overlord pods in order to allow, for example, Zerg's overlords to be avoid them to getting sniped in the early game. Maybe this area might be an overlord pod as well, but it could be done with like invisible do that, something like this. Just add a series of doodads in here, just in order to create the effect without needing to use a high ground in here. Because using a high ground here will actually be detrimental to the map because it will end up blocking like the vision from the players of this area, which is actually like a rather important area where armies, for example, of harassment units will always pass through here, and adding a high ground in here will block the player's vision. That will be seriously problematic. Do you see? This is like some very good level design. This area could be abused by Liberator a little bit too much, but that's fine. It's fine because it will be happening in the late game, and at that point, it is not. It is we ourselves as like level designers can like just clean our hands and say it wasn't us. It was the development team. It is clearly not a cliff. Yeah, it is well positioned. Uh, 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 okay, other map. Toxic. But yeah, teammate, would you like me to review, or Sanglun, would you like me to review some of your maps? Oh, what do we have in here? This mineral line is non-standard, the position of it. It should be done cardinally, probably in here. That is because the best pink ices will be hidden. I consider that placing it here is a more efficient usage of space. Let me see if I can remember how to rotate. Nope. 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 Oh, there it is. No, this clip. Okay. Something like that. A more standard mineral line positioning. Remember that I think that this is from the standard category. Try to not deviate too much from doing like this kind of things. I know that it can get like very, very boring, but even then, try to avoid it basically at all costs. Some very cool you do that usage. These ones have some these little but protruding temple sprouts have some different textures. I think that they might be still working. This section in here, the texture ones, allows you to select some alternative ones from the existing pool of them. I'm not sure. Sometimes it broke like a while ago, but some of them still work. Yeah, it changed the tone a little bit, and it made them fit better with the cliff. Tanks can get in here and shell the heck out of this mineral line. That is not too much of a problem, but it is still like not the best. This area in here can be abused by liberators, so it might be a good idea to remove it. I'm not entirely sure. This area in here, this little overlord pod, probably needs to be made slightly bigger. Like, it's not like the maker doesn't have the space for it. It clearly has. Something like that. Maybe. It will be still like problematic because units in here can have like a considerable range. So usually what is recommended is actually not to have an overlord pod position right nearby the main base, but position in the other side. So somewhere around here. Something like that. Okay. Continuing on. A very good usage of palette, of color palette. Maybe this map will also benefit from the trick with the lightning itself. Increase the colorization of it. Let's see. Oh, I don't know which of them are. Typhon X1. Lightning Heaven. Remember, if you change any of these, you can easily break it. No. Increasing the colorization it's not a very good idea, clearly. Because the lightning has already a different color, and that colorization is increasing the saturation of the color of your global illumination and everything. So even when it might have been a good idea for Miyavi's map, it isn't clearly a good idea in here. This wrap, one, I don't want to like attack them like too strongly, but it is always, whatever you are setting out your map and you are setting out your expansion pattern, something like this. I'm not sure if it's even clearer here than here, but yeah, wherever you have your expansion pattern, it is very good to have like a solid idea who will take like each of the corner bases and create the ramps, for example these ones, and create them appropriately. For example, if you want this map clearly allows, at least to a degree, for either expansion pattern to happen. The counter rotational one is clearly preferred. The counter clockwise one is clearly preferred. But yeah, try to make your corner bases, such as in this situation, it is very clearly defined, at least for your players, and allow for these kind of things, add the rocks in here in order to allow your corner bases to be taken more easily, especially in late game scenarios. For this map in particular, this optional third / fourth is like slightly too far away. So in order to avoid that, the map should probably have some rocks in here, something like that, in order to block any attack in the early mid game, and that way allow for players to take it slightly more easily. The ramps itself, it might be like slightly too exposed. Even just the rocks themselves might like not be enough, and that way it should be added with a cliff line. That way, in order, it will make the base more easily to hold, and not even to hold, but to take at all, especially in Legacy of the Void. Ephemeron. The map that almost made it. The issue, Shrek, is that I have a list of all the maps, but and I could do that, like, but I'm not sure if I can like actually show the list. I'm trying to think, because it has like all of the judges' votes and comments and everything, and that is not something that I can show in a stream. Oh, Ephemeron. Yes, this one basically to a certain degree died because of the no alternative third, sadly. Players just didn't like that fact, and that to me is kind of heartbreaking. It's not because it is particularly bad, like for example, even this third, like having an alternative that is safer to this, or making this base like safer, I think that will have made players happier with it. I honestly think that something like that. What do you guys think? Do you think that might work? Something akin to this. It will clearly just made it considerably safer. I think that for this map in particular, Ephemeron, I will probably be making a video for it, because it has so many details that I just probably won't be able to even get on the stream, and I need to talk with other judges about it. Also, try to, if you are going to do this, like adding doodads this way on top of the cliff line, still make it very, very clear that there is a cliff down there. Because if an overlord drifts a little bit in here, it will get like out of the cliff, and players will get like apeshit, exasperated about it. This kind of stuff needs to be very, very clear, because losing an overlord in the early game can be like so devastating for Zerg sometimes. Having, for example, an army sit in here outside of your third can be very problematic. You have in this, yeah, there is like too much in here that I will need to unpack, and in order to do that, I will probably need to talk with the other judges, because there is like so many little details that negative added into this map. Like, it's greatly done, but yeah, I really think that from my personal perspective as a mapper, what I think that killed it was the lack of alternative there, sadly. Yeah, the rocks will, of course, yeah. The rocks will make it, yeah, that's exactly why it's such a trick to like add the rocks in here, because they do, as you said, they do make it harder for Zek to deal with any push that happens in here. But at the same time, imagine, for example, a Protoss trying to take this base, or a Terran trying to take it. It's not like such a straightforward thing. It isn't impossible, but it isn't like straightforward. You will need to do like a small little push, and then add like a couple buildings and whatnot. It's not like what players are like particularly used to. Especially because it is not in, for example, it is not like Catalyst, where your third is in the same height, in the same terrain height as your natural base, but it is in the high ground. That is like, that alone throws like kind of a wrench into the entire thing. Maybe if the natural were like in the same terrain height as this, and the natural were in the same terrain height as this, that will work, I guess. Yeah, that will actually work. Let's try it out. Yep. But this goes like fully against what the map is supposed to be, sadly. Something like this. Something like that. Yep. Come on. Well, doesn't matter. Yeah, like it clearly works better. It clearly just works better. Sadly, unquote. Regarding quality assurance of the map, it is like one of the negative heroes map. So there is not much that I can actually say, because I know that the pathfinding will be done well. Well, no, scratch that. But beyond that little nut, it is alright. Okay, other map. Ascension to Ire has a third turn. Ascension to Ire doesn't have a harder third than this. Has an easier third than this. Odyssey as well. Odyssey has the third in Odyssey is more exposed because it is in the open more, but it is still like there is still a high ground. The natural is still in the high ground in comparison to the third. That allows for an easier time defending. You can, for example, retreat to your high ground, and you can recover your third more easily after that. But in here, if you lose your third when you're trying to take it, your enemy can just roam in the high ground, and you just won't be able to like dislodge that easily. You will need to like do a battle like up the high ground in order to recover your third, and that just literally is not. StarCraft 2 as a game doesn't really allow for that, balance wise. Adimac, I'm not sure if I have it though. No, I don't have it. Maybe I could. Let's try to find it. Hopefully it is open in the wherever you upload it to BattleNet. Hopefully it will be open there. And if it isn't, then I won't be able to. Oh yes, it is. Oh, but I need to download it. Hopefully the stream isn't dying right now. It probably is though. Downloading a map. Meanwhile, we're streaming. Oh boy. Okay. What do we have in here? This is solidly well put together. Okay, let's check the pathing and just despair. Oh no. Oh no. Well, there you go. There you go, dude. Chaos, absolute chaos. Remember, copy all of the settings that are now in the screen. Like take a screenshot, save it in Paint, and just copy every single of the settings that I have in the screen. Show mesh, show cleanable, show unpathable buildings, show ground, and just learn every single hotkey that you see in here, so you can just swap between them easily. So that way you can do your own quality assurance for your own pathing, and you don't end up with problems such as this one. Also, don't use this grid. This grid is only useful for like some actual gameplay for buildings and whatnot. For unit, you need to use this one. The Control Alt 8 versus Control Shift 8. That's the difference. And that's all of the world. Well, the same thing that I was saying for -0. Wherever you do that to hide a cliff line, make sure that it's very, 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 very clear where the cliff ends, because a Zerg that sends an overload in here will get absolutely exasperated wherever the overload is, for example, parking in here, and that is just right out of the cliff itself, and it loses vision. So unless you are using, for example, some line of sight, invisible line of sight blockers, that is a do that, by the way. These ones, unless you are using like this kind of do that, then just don't do that. Oh, it has the little game hard things. Oh, well, that's something. Regarding this, let's do a level review. One of the things that lots of maps in Team Blue Map Contest 10 just outright died when the judges went ham against, for example, some siege tank, some timing pushes that Terran likes to do with siege tanks, some marines, and a medivac against some Protoss early opening. And for example, the early version of King Cape King, that map that Syrian got in now. An early version of that map died because siege tanks can easily cover the defensible distance between the third and the natural. So this area per se, this map is not so problematic because it has a wide ramp, and that allows, for example, to Protoss to like just swarm the ramp and swarm the little attack, the ramp push in the mid game, in the early mid game. So that's not so much of a problem. But if you continue to use, for example, tight pathways such as this one, between for example your third and your natural, then your map might get like actually disqualified, because this kind of pushes can be so dangerous sometimes. And wherever a map arises that has this exploit, then all of the Terrans will start doing that exploit in the map in order to gain, obviously, in order to win game. So you need to be careful of this kind of areas. In here, it's not particularly bad because you have your natural, you have your optional third and whatnot, but that's still something to keep an eye out. A good area in here for Overlord. A good area in here for Liberator abuse, I'd guess. It is not that bad though. Little high grounds for the same thing as I said previously. This is far more clear than, for example, this one. So this is better. This little Overlord pod. When it comes to the third, that's alright. This is a very solid third position. I don't really like this rock, and that is because Zerg, when tries to take this third, a Terran push from all the way here, the Zerg won't have like a way to actually surround the push. So these rocks probably need to go, or you need to replace them with ones that are 6x6. I know that this kind of thing will seriously screw up your whole idea of the center that you have going on in here, but it's something that the gameplay always has to go first. Also, in the same fashion that I was rallying against Meavis for having like the same terrain colorization in both levels, I will actually say that this map is like not worthy of my admiration, because you are using the same color palette in both terrain heights. It needs to be done so far more clear that there are different terrain heights in here for the overview stuff. In the same fashion, in the main bases, you shouldn't be using this. You should be probably using like some kind of shakuras mixed with some Ulan man-made textures and cliffs in order to showcase that where the mains are in a very, 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 very clear fashion. Third bases are alright, fourth bases are alright, the distance is fine. As an alternative fourth, this base that is similar to that one in Mech Depot, it is also fine. This Salnaga, it is fine, but I don't like how close it is to this. I'm sure that you already thought of different places where to put them. For example, in the center, they wouldn't work. In here, they wouldn't work. In here, they wouldn't work. So you just end up positioning in there. That's like the most feasible position. Maybe something like this, akin to overgrowth. Maybe not, because the Stelnaga will have like a net, and then siege tanks can like abuse a little bit and will strengthen that push that I was talking about. It is not so much of a problem in this map, so don't worry about that. I'm just like talking to myself. I will guess that if it isn't here, then it is not Solnagas at all. Probably. Like the alternative position will be here, but having them here allows for the aggressor to take the Salnaga more easily than the defender, and that is always a problem. I like that you're using like diagonal rocks a lot. Those are always like some rocks that are like kind of tricky to use, but they work well in your layout. These rocks, they work well. Like it creates the 2 extra pathways that you need in order to have the map work. So they are well positioned, I think. So yeah, regarding the Salnaga, it is in here or not at all. Well, good usage. of your corner bases. You could probably even go all the way and just add like that in there in order to allow for a quasi pocket base for the corner. Maybe something like this in order to allow for a more easy time taking this base, probably. It will obviously expose the fourth, your forward triangular base, but that is less of a problem, especially now that we change this, and this becomes your priority third, and this becomes basically your fourth. Unless, for example, you are Terran, in which case this will probably become your priority third, and this will become your fourth. Yeah, same thing here. Make it more clear that there is a high ground from a gameplay perspective. So Turks don't have their overload die whatever they miss by a couple pixels. Central bases are very well positioned. This is a blue shift slash frozen temple kind of layout. It is very solid. You could even like go and add something like this, I think, in order to like not like this, but the idea is there. Something like more akin to frozen temple. As general feedback, I will say that the priority is getting the different colorization levels for the terrain, probably changing this in order to allow for more easier time for Dark players like getting into this area without getting wrecked by, for example, siege tank pushes and whatnot. Same with Protoss players. Our designs are there. I just want to create something there. Oh, King's Cove. Do you want me to review it, Trek? Or do you want me to just remember the name? Yeah, the streams, I set it up 60 frames per second. Yeah, don't worry, Edimac. It looks very good. It is using the AVEX style of everything. It looks very, very good. Other details? Well, there is these rocks, obviously. Yeah, I guess that is most of it. Yeah. King's Cove. That is the name of it. You guys were saying Heavenly Glade. Oh yeah, that's the Tangloon map. Oh, okay. Oh, in the same fashion that I was rallying against the colorization, King's Cove has the same issue. This one as well, the grass should be like a different tonality than the grass in the high ground. The fog helps a little bit, but that's still not enough. Same with the sand texture. We first check the pathing, and it is pristine. It is very well done. Okay, the lake. It reminds me of that Iron map. That Iron Man map. How was it? Ravage. That is the name of it, with a little lake in the center. Third base positioning, it is very good. The fourth, the alternative fourth, is also very good. This ramp, it is not too wide, it's too double sized. That is excellent. But, and this is huge, it lacks a forward overlord pod. It has the one in the back, but the one in the back is always not preferred, because it can also be abused by liberators. So it is basically always preferable to have it in the front. There is too much space behind the main, probably. Too much of it. You could get away with like moving the main back some, and still have some decent amount of space left. Cliffing, yeah, it is still needs some extra detail work. Something like that. But yeah, when it comes to this area is probably can be abused too much by siege tanks and Terran players, especially when it is like right on top of your forward third, your triangular third. I'm not sure if the ramp is at the correct distance as well, the natural ramp. Yeah, it is slightly too far. It should be slightly back, so Zerg players can do wall up with hatcheries, with the hatchery grip. It is not a map killer, but it's always like a slightly extra bonus point. When it comes to this area, this is probably the most problematic area of the entire map, because whatever for example, I'm not sure, like late game, mid game, late mid game, if Terran managed to position itself with some siege tanks in here and having like an army here or an army here and trying to push slightly towards, for example, the Zerg or towards the Protoss, it will end up, the siege tanks in here will be like so incredibly problematic. When it comes to this, the space is fine. This gold base is risky, and it will reward well. It is well positioned, I think. In here, you could get away with having a full pocket base, but I actually like this little bridge. You could have it either way. You could have a full pocket base, or you could have the little bridge. This area might be probably, this ramp should be forward, probably a little bit, maybe a little bit more, in order to increase the amount of space that is in this area, and that way allow for actual engagement in here and not just be a pathway. Good usage of the beach theme. Good usage of the trees. This little pond might actually be slightly too big. Something like that, in order to allow for having bigger space in the center. Actually, if you are gonna cut this area, the pond might need to actually be even smaller, and I'm not sure if that is like all too good. Something like that. Something like that. Then this area will need to be done in the low ground in order to compensate and avoid the and avoid your third base, your forward third base to be too exposed, because Protoss then Protoss players wouldn't like the area. Protoss players won't basically ever like to take this base. They will always prefer to have the closest by. So yeah, I will probably push this entire area back a little bit, push this ramp back, push this third base back alongside with the main base. If you can, push this two ramp back just a little bit alongside with this mineral line. This mineral line needs to be pushed back alongside with this two ramp, because otherwise the entire area won't work probably. This little bridge, you could do something with interesting with the gold and the little bridge. You could add two ramps in here and then have the gold blocking this area. I'm not sure, because after all we're in the standard category, but it still might work though. Something like this, and then you just have the gold, the mineral line, like blocking this area still, like this. That's up to you though. It can be risky. It can make the players not really want to take the gold base anymore. So it's something that needs to be accounted for. But it gives you slightly more space in here that you can use to increase this area. And maybe you can push this ramp even further, giving even more space to this other area. And then you can add some little high grounds in here to extend this space and make it safer to take. Yeah, something like this. And obviously the color thing. Try to make it even clearer wherever the terrain differences are. You could replace this grass with, I don't know, like a darker tonality, something like that. Other map. Anyhow, guys, is it working? Is the stream like working well or no? What do you guys think? I haven't seen you like wailing at the low frame rate, so I guess that better, maybe. The problem is that we're getting like later into the day, and at this hour I might actually need to cut the stream short and continue maybe tomorrow or next week. Or would you guys prefer for me to actually do videos? What do you guys think? Oh, I see Alan Mavis were like talking me via Discord. Thanks, I'm new. Okay, good. Okay. Frame rate is slow, but it's just annoying, not usable. I will be internet. Nah, no, a bit. Oh yeah, the map that we really liked. I really like the aesthetics of it. Chunk cake. You did a good job with that one. I was actually thinking that it was like a map done by RQM, or some kind of stealth map done by Avex, something like that. It looked really good. Or even by Shrek. You did a very, very good job. I was actually like kind of confused about who made it. regarding the review, the main point, the main point, is that the center is just not open enough. It is something that it kind of broke my heart, like just seeing the center, because it needs not only to be like go and remove these areas, these unfaithful areas, but you need more attack paths, and in order to do that, you will actually need to actually increase the size of the map. You will probably need to take this entire area and shift it to the right, like by a considerable amount, and only then you will have enough space. The other option would probably be to refurbish this entire area, take the main base. I'm gonna do it. Let's do it. And just move it. Something like this. No, that's too much. Something like that. And then you take the natural base, and you move everything. And just shift it. Something like this. I'm not sure, but you really need more space in the center in order to create more attack path, not only more openness. Because this kind of the challenge 2 and the challenge 1 map, the ones that needed the main bases to be like rather close, were some very tricky maps to do. And even then, when the aesthetics of these ones are solid, the map layout itself isn't. This little corner 4th base, it is actually very sick, but this, you went overboard with the line of sight blockers in here. It will actually become problematic. All of this area needs to be probably cut. All of these doodads, and needs to be, you need to increase the amount of area, of playable area in the map itself, not just dedicate yourself to aesthetic. All of this area looks very pretty, but needs to go. It just needs to go. You need more playable area. That is basically the main things. This rock, look, it actually works very well. This area needs to be, yeah. These little bridges, they are so good. I absolutely love them. I love that they are not in a 45-degree angle as well. This one. All of this area is probably too big. Yeah. Try to cut back as much as possible in the prettiness areas, and try to increase the amount of playable area and make a more solid layout out of it. I wonder if you could do something like this. No, there is no space. Something like this. Yeah, too little space. That would be my main gripe. That and that. It is a solid map. It's a solid layout, solid execution of a bad layout. That is the best way to put it. When it comes to mineral lines, something that I haven't been doing is checking them, seeing if you guys screwed too much. What? Ah, okay. Yeah, no, this is okay. This is alright as well. This is alright as well. In here, I will recommend to use the lab one. I think they will fit better. like aesthetically. I'm not sure. Oh no, I am sure. Screw this one. Screw the natural one. Use the lab one. Even when, for example, most map makers don't really care which types of mineral are used. I know that there are, for example, some I don't know, gold level, platinum level players, or diamond level players that actually care about this kind of thing. So if you can give them a nod, they will be very happy with the map. Whatever, if it reaches ladder, of course. There is the... Yeah, no, this is a solid usage of the turret. I personally, I personally don't like the turret like at all. I think that it will be considerably better to just have like air pathing blockers. They are a buggy mess, but they are still better because they don't frustrate the players as much. Oh, also, in the same vein, don't freaking use the fly zone blockers just to showcase a do that or whatever. Just don't. Just take the do that and decrease the height of it instead. Use them for critical things. This is not a critical thing. I always rally, for example, against Avex, that he likes to use the fly zone. And just don't. Just don't. Don't use them. Like at all. If you can avoid them, do it. Like no matter the cost. But in this case where we were talking about the turrets themselves, these little fellows are actually worse than the no-fly zone. Yeah, I guess that is all. There is entire problem with the rock, but it's not something that we can fix. That is something that Blizzard needs to send us. They need to give us like actual better rock for it. We need like rock with higher XP levels, so you can have like something like this. Here there are like 5 different rocks in here, and that will work better. These rocks are not particularly useful, if at all. At that point, it's like just better to not have them. Instead, have like a high ground or a low ground, because they just won't ever be destroyed. There is no point to them. In here, what other thing is missing? The Overlord pod, but in this map per se, I really don't know how to put it, because you have the Overlord Slayers around here, the natural main, the natural base. So the Overlords will always go around the gold, probably, from the third player, around the gold and around the top. A very good usage of this little doodad as well. So thumbs up for that. Shamrock Fane. Oh, I have 2 of them. Oh, oh, oh. Do you have concerns about the... Yeah, they are awful. They are awful, like, overall. The little turret. It is not a very good idea to use them at all. I don't agree with the development team on this. And I think that in like 2 months, the development team will agree with me that they are awful. But they want to try it out, so let them try it out. Color palette instantly. Yeah, I will replace these textures, these colors, with something like this instead. It will make them less confusing. You have like a very like haphazard, quasi-messy style Shrek. It is a very characteristic of you. It's not something that I would like rally against. So I don't know. It is different style. It is cool though. In this position, I will actually replace the clip. I will use this one for this one and this one for this one. Oh yeah, no, this map is actually like very solid. Oh, what do we have in here? Oh no, they are misplaced by like 2 pixels. The pathing blockers. There it is. And you forgot about this one. In here as well. The main base. Obviously there is the siege tank potential in here, but that's something that you can take care of yourself. I'm sure you are like a good map maker regarding this. There is the 3 best being guises rules that I like to use as when I was making maps more. Always have, so there will always be an overlord like hanging around this area, around the main, and there will always be an overlord around this area, so that way Ter can have vision of at least 3 best being guises. That means that Ter can at least more or less guess what the opponent is doing, and that way they won't outright die to any kind of a lean or weird timing push or whatever. Terrans and Protoss like whine against this, but if you don't do this, then Zerg get like in the dark basically, and they just die. It is very sad. Regarding pathing, this ramp might be slightly too big, so you might need a 2x2 rock in here in order to allow for. Oh. In order to allow for an easy wall off. I need to check if you can do it, if you can build a wall with the Evo chambers in here. Yeah, that's fine. You probably can. And always be watchful of that drones and probes don't clip nor jump wherever they are in here. You always see them in streams now and then. You have, for example, a player transferring probes, and then you see them and then jump in here, and then go back, and then jump in here and here, and then they reach their destination. Try to avoid that kind of thing because it throws people off. And that can be done by disabling, for example, disabling the footprint of this. You just click enter, pathing, don't use to that footprint. After that, they will clip, but that's still, I think, maybe better than having the drone like jump around. The triangular third, it is very well positioned. It has a solid amount of space. These rocks are very, very well positioned, I think. You could even, but in order to position them better, you could cut a little bit in here. What? Cliff. Okay, something like that. And move them a little bit. Something like that. Because you have the 2 distances that are like too far, I think. The distance between the 2 attack paths. I really like the standard, like the 4-leaf clover style. It worked very, very well, I think. Even better, like Negative Hero had a similar style going around. He made a map a while ago that had this kind of style, and I think that this map, even when it has like some issues with regarding the cliffing style, I think it is still like better executed with a better usage of space. With a more solid cliffing style, it will be better. So I will recommend you to work more regarding that. Try to just like, for example, download some of negative maps or some of New Sunshine maps, and just, for example, try to copy paste their cliffing style some, just so you know how to do it, and then you can give them your own twist, your own little style change. This probably needs some more visual to that to showcase that it is not passable. Same in here, same in for all the little high grounds. You need to add more to that in there. This area is not perfectly clear if units can pass through it or no. So it's something that needs to be worked on. You need to add more rocks and other types of doodads in here to showcase instantly which areas are passable and which aren't. In the same fashion, I was talking about the man-made cliffs. Try to work out in the cliffing. It will also not only, as I was saying for other reviews, it will not only help you understand how to make them pretty, but it also will help you trying to understand the spacing inside of the map and how you can achieve better map spacing. In here you try to do a bridge, obviously, but then you try to scrap it because you didn't have like the space and whatnot. I will still like tell you that it's fine for you to try a bridge. It will look fine. And it will work probably fine as well, because this is not a priority area. These rocks in here, yeah, that is exactly why you remove them, because you added the rocks. Yeah, checking after the rock, yeah, I'd agree with you regarding removing it. You did a good decision in that, because it will make the entire area too choky. But I think that no, it's all right. Where you have them, it will work fine. The third position, now talking more about gameplay itself, this third work, unquote, but it is, this entire area probably is too choky, so might need to remove that in order to allow for a slightly more spacious area in here, less clutter as well. Regarding this area, there was another map that was submitted for Team Blue Map Contest 10 and Team Blue Map Contest 11. I think it is one of the finalists. It is a port. It is a man-made port. I forget the name. I really forget the name. But the issue with this, with having a high ground that is right in front of the natural like this, it is that Terran always likes to place his bloody siege tanks and everything in here. So then it becomes very hard for players to attack around. Here is not so much of a problem because this area is like rather open, and you have this line of sight blockers that allow any flanking path, any flanking army, any flanking force to come out like at least to a certain degree of surprise. It probably should be done better though, with more there, something like that. That way the Terran player that might be positioning here won't be able to see so easily that way. That is, it's still like well positioned. Like I don't want to like say that it's bad because it isn't. But just be careful with this kind of situation. Maybe you could even push the ramp like 1x a little bit to the north in here. Same in this position. Because wherever the Terran, it's always the bloody siege tanks and the liberators and everything. Wherever Terran gets a high value position, so as this one, then the games basically can easily end. So our duty as like level designers in here is try to prolong the game and avoid players like outright dying for certain positions of high strategic value in the map. This rock, I assume that obviously they all collapse. There are two types of rock of towers, and sometimes it can be tricky to say if one of them are conjoined to the other or not. So I will just assume that they all collapse. That's cute. I'm not gonna say it isn't, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. it might very well work. So I won't rally against it. It probably works. It would be like very interesting to have like an army like big cut off in half and all of that. So yeah, for the meme potential, I give it a thumbs up, just for the meme potential. These little areas, yeah, they probably oversized. They the little ponds might need to be made slightly smaller. The space is fine. It's fine. In here, there might be like too much. Oh, this area might be like too big for what it will be used gameplay wise, but that's still fine. I think that the map might benefit from having like some rocks in here, just like you had them in the other side and the third base. Instead of 6x6, using some 4x4, something like that. That way you allow for a slightly harder attack path. It is actually a stick map. I'm rather sad that it couldn't be like it couldn't score higher. But I think that we'll need to do like talk with the other judges so they can say like outright why they thought the map wasn't doing so well. I got scared for a moment. Oof. Oof. Okay. No, I'll still might probably need to cut it short now though. Because my throat is getting so sore. I'm not using to talking for like, I'm not sure, like 4 hours. No, probably less than that, like 3 or 2.5, something like that. Yeah, regarding the review of the map itself, the color palette, probably replace these colors, these ones, for something more bluish. Yeah, no, it's fine. Is there any other map that you guys, Shrek, Gel, that you guys would like me to review? Type out the name, because I won't know, like, if you guys made, like, X map, you will need to, like, write out the name. These clips look so good, though. I really like them, that they remade them. They did a very, very good job. The line of sight blocker. From an overview, this is just beautiful. Beautiful. Dracula. So you can have a high ground support near a low ground third. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You it is not that you can't. It is not that you can't have a high ground near a low ground third. It is that it is kind of dangerous to a very certain degree. Yeah, but in the case of redshift, it is you have the 2/3 in there, and not only that, you have the 2/3 in redshift, but the high ground third, it is usually more easily to take than the low ground one. And not only that, but you have the low ground position. 1 second. Oh no, I can't show it in here. Or maybe I can't. Imagine that this is redshift. Oh, imagine that the main base is over here, and you have your own little ramp. That from here comes the natural. So in redshift, all of this area, it is open. This ramp doesn't exist in there. You only have this little ramp that leads from the natural, and that makes it all the more easily defensible. It is not that you can't have like the terrain difference, the terrain height differences around the third bases, but that you need to be careful that you are not giving the attacker the high ground, meanwhile the defender has none. That is the very key issue in there. In redshift, you have the defender will basically always have the high ground, meanwhile the attacker will not. In your map, you are giving the high ground to the attacker, and with siege tanks, that becomes a problem. The textures don't look lazy. Like all of this, well, the entire man-made area, yeah, I give you that because it is just like bucket paint. But all of this area looks fine. It looks alright, especially because it's like mixed together. It looks alright. Don't worry about it. The only problem is that the man-made area. And also the fact that you clearly made like the 3 levels clearly like very easy to read. It is all right. Yeah, no, the issue with Dracula was this turret. The players like really didn't like them. Sadly, I actually think that this is an actual better implementation of the turrets than what is once done, for example, in ICL map, when you just have like a bunch of them. But because, for example, in this area, you will have they are just not practical. That is the thing. At that point, it's like, why even have the turret? Because any unit will just take them down, even in the like early game. It is just not practical. Like the entire layout itself, it is very well executed, I think. Oh, I'm not sure if I'm streaming or no, or if this still continues to show. I just press like test map. Oh, things are freezing a little bit. Okay. Yeah, for example, the third base, it is very well spaced. The alternative third, it is also very well spaced. Like it is a very solid standard map. That is the thing. That is the kind of I am annoyed that it didn't make it. The turrets themselves in here is just like.
Don't leave me hanging.
Okay, hopefully this shows in stream. Yeah, it is.
Got it.
Do you see?
Sure thing. First round's on me.
They will just die.
On.
It is not particularly
it's go time.
useful. They don't add.
Believe it.
They add little to the map itself.
Why not?
It is still, I think it has like a potential, but not for this current implementation. I think this is basically the best way that you can implement turret, something like this. but for a different map. Maybe use it
Just
in a
say
different way.
when. Let's do
But the
this.
layout itself of the map, it is very, very solid. There is not much that I can say.
It's about to get heavy. I'm all
Maybe
about
a good
that.
way that one of the things that I was thinking
Believe
about
it.
regarding this is that you could have like line of sight blocker
It's about to
around the
get
very
heavy.
edge of this. Maybe I can implement it myself in here. Something like this. I'm not sure how it will work, like gameplay wise, but I think it has more potential. Something like this. So the turrets can only attack in this little square into the sky, and the units can't really so easily kill them. That will make it better. Yeah, no, I understand that. I still don't agree with it. That for them to be clear early, because that's the point of the thing. To have
Don't
the
leave me
turret.
hanging.
Like,
Just say
for them to be
when.
clear early is like
Time's a wasting.
not.
Got it.
Like,
It's go
at that point,
time.
it's like, why even have the turret?
Why not?
It is
First
like a
round's
little
on me.
more destroy in order to get your otherwise
Sure
standard map
thing.
into the final list. We had another map that
Oh,
was different to
it's
this,
on.
that had only like 3 turrets around the edges of the map in what otherwise would have been like a very,
Let's
very
do
standard
this.
map. But yeah, regarding this,
Yeah,
the
can you hear
layout
me?
is excellent. I actually think you could have submitted as a standard map without the turrets, and it might actually made finalist or something like that. Regarding the layout itself, I'm not sure if you guys can hear my dog. Hopefully not, or not too loudly. Yeah, any more than that, it is like, it is. I will be like picking too hard on the map. Any beyond what I just said, I think maybe remove this entire cliff line alongside the edges, but that's the entire point of the map, because if you have this cliff line, then liberators kind of become a problem. Maybe you could push it further back, or maybe make it look like destroyed in certain areas with natural cliffs. El Secaro man-made, El Secaro, something like that. So it kind of looks destroyed, but like well done, obviously, not just like my half hazard, half fake, but something like that, in order to avoid problems with liberators and whatnot. Oh yeah, if you want to jump into the Discord, feel free. Those blockers around the turret might be cool, but probably don't matter. Yeah, but you can add like pathing block on top of it. So that way the line of sight blockers can actually like be passed on, and then they still retain you can still that way retain the turret in the middle. They will have the vision necessary to clear turret. Please lower in-game volume. I'm sorry, Shrek. Yeah, no, the volumes is like all over the place, especially with like OBS and everything. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, my dude. Anyhow, any other map that you guys would like me to review? D-May, you had that cool map with the turret. What was the name? I really won't be able to find it otherwise. Oh no, 2-4. Clips weren't considered OP on Eastwatch. Um, like that's an excellent counter argument, but I still disagree because I still think that they were OP on Eastwatch. They were like considerable OP by most of the player base, but they were still like a huge amount of like exploit spots. Like that was absolutely disgusting.
Are you looking for another turret map?
Yeah, I'm looking. Time? Yeah, I'm looking for your turret map, the one that you submitted, the one with the gold
The other one is Salamander.
salamander. Salamander 1800, 18, I'm not sure. 180,721.
Yeah,
Receptor
that's a date.
terminal, black top, sitting golf place. Yeah, this one. This was one of the maps that I think had the coolest usage of the turret. If anybody is in stream, like actually wants to see like what a good map with turrets might be, I think this might be the one where you had the gold base and the Bespin geysers, and you could like land, but only after taking the turrets out. I'm actually saddened that this one didn't make it.
I got memed really hard in this one. So I was I think I might have told you this earlier, but I was in Uppatree's Discord, so like Uppatree is his name is Sal, right? And so I've been subbed to his channel for like a year. And so I kind of named it that as a joke. At the time I didn't realize he was going to be a judge. Like I thought he was going to get Jason, and I didn't realize both of them would be in. And so I was kind of joking. I'm like, oh, did I pander a little bit too hard? Naming it after the streamer. But what it turns out, when he looked at the map, he said that the third base was too hard. But he was looking at the low ground third. I'm like, well, what about the other third? He's like, oh.
Oh.
And he still thought it was a little difficult because there are the two ramps, but
Yeah. Yeah. This third is like what makes or kills the map, I think. It should have been done like just that tiny little bit easier. I don't know. Like this is one of the maps that I was like really my heart was bleeding, like seeing like pro gamers not like it. Because I can vote, like we can do the voting, but if the pro gamers like
oh, by the way, you're lagging a lot and
oh, sadly. Yeah, no, it's probably because
you're lagging Discord and on stream.
Oh yeah, I probably can't hold both, sadly. But yeah, jumped into the into the Twitch channel. But yeah, this map, my heart was bleeding, knowing that it wasn't going to make it after seeing like all of the players not quite like it. Ugh. Because we can vote and we can like discuss something, but I just didn't have the time to be like all of the time like discussing with the player. Anyhow, guys. Yeah, if anybody wants to like implement something cool, implement something like this. Whatever, if we ever get something like the turret meme again. Black top and sitting gold. Okay, let's do receptor terminal. I am running out of energy, my dudes. So This will probably be like the last couple maps. Receptor Terminal, Blacktop, and Sitting Golf. The boat should ideally still be like usable. Okay, first thing, instantly hatchery. Can I wall off this ramp with the creep from the hatchery? Just barely so. So that's a good thing. Main base. The Reaper jump pad needs to be made even clearer than this. Needs to be done even clearer. In all of these little high grounds needs to be made unpassable, obviously. Press 8 to select the pathing and just like paint over them. This map, this is like one prime example of what I was talking about regarding the high ground, right in front of the third bases. Like some siege tanks in here with like some marines thrown in can really make the lives of people miserable. Especially because they can't reach the third itself. Like this just kills the map. Sadly. This just kills the map. So all of this needs to go. Not the entire high ground probably, but be pushed back like considerably so. Until like around here maybe. Something like that. Yeah, that is better. It is still like slightly too close, and this high ground needs to be removed in order to allow, for example, one thing that I always notice is that many players, stalkers, is that one needs to be very careful when it comes to creating these kind of situations, these kind of terrains, because you need to account for the size of the defender's army passing cleanly through this area, through this choke point, between the hatchery and the terrain itself. Like, if you didn't have the hatchery, then this area will be like very easy to pass through, right? But once you have the hatchery, then this area, this becomes the new choke point between the terrain and the hatchery itself. And you need to account for this area wherever the sign in the map in order to have the defender not get like trapped between their own buildings and the terrain. So this is something that you will probably need to account for many areas here as well, probably, or here as well. Usually it is not that big of a deal, these kind of areas that show up, but when you have this kind of situation, then it becomes like a huge problem. This Max from Avex, this map from Avex, the ice one that he submitted, I'm really like looking at the names lately, but this new ice map that he had used to have like a very similar issue to this, and it got like fixed like after just like having some discussions about it. Yeah, and after this, you will probably need to push the base like something like that. Remove this little high ground. I know that this is like the overlord pod, but try to place them in the other side, around here. Something like this. That is considerably better. Something like that. That way you have enough space. Maybe you will probably need to move the rock something a little bit like that in order to decrease this area. That way Protoss can take this base more easily. maybe even increase this ramp as well. Details such as this, in order to allow, for example, players to also take this space slightly more easily and not get trapped by the ramp while trying to defend this area. Because if you have a two-size ramp and your opponent has like a couple siege tanks in here with some bunch of bio trying to take down your nexus, wherever you come to defend this area, your army will have a trouble trying to cross the choke point in order to attack them, and you will get caught in the choke point itself and eat a huge amount of splash. And in order to help this in this area even further, you could take this Bespin Geyser and place it in the other end. That's why you free up a huge amount of space in this area, easing up the defender's path in order to protect their own bases. In that same vein, this set of rocks is well positioned because it avoids the attacker player sending the army very easily towards this area. Because if the attacker's army, the bunch of bio, gets into this position, the defender will have to travel even further in order to attack, in order to take it down before they snipe the building, the main town hall. Yeah, no, take care, Shrek. What else? Regarding the center of the map, good usage of the little ramp. Like, it is always fun to look them, to use them. I think this little ramp might be actually better if it were like that. It's slightly bigger. This area, I'm not sure. It feels like detached from the rest of the map. It is like you just like wanted to have a high ground, and then you realize that if you added the high ground, then everything will be like too constrained, too like choked up. So then you just remove the high ground and decided to add these little areas. It still works better than having a high ground in here, because you just don't have enough space. So that's a good decision. I think you could still like improve it further though. Like give it slightly better spacing. Maybe removing some of them, something like this. Then you have even more open area. This little area in here might actually benefit from not existing. Something like this. Something like that. I'm really not sure about that, because it might make the entire area maybe too open, but that's still better. It is better to have a map that is slightly too open than a map that is like slightly too choked up, because at least in the open map, StarCraft 2 is like made to deal with those kind of situations. Meanwhile, if something is too choked up, Derg like just dies. What else? You could go like all the way with the memes and add some like small rock to the small ramp. That way, any army that tries to get into this position will have to get in there. Or maybe add 2 rocks like that. No, that would be too dangerous, because there still needs a flanking option. So yeah, so maybe a rocks in there and a rocks in there, or maybe rocks in there. Something in here in order to make the difference, to make that a choke in here in one of these, to get a choke, like kind of using the ideas from Superhuman. Choke and open area, choke and open area. Regarding this, any other detail? With this area, it becomes considerably better for Zerg with the little overlord bot, so that's good. This base is kind of detached, but it still fits inside of the map. A corner base that is a pocket base, that might work well. You could even go further and do something like this. Do you see, like a very, 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 very tight choke with 2 rocks at each side. So you can, for example, block this area with like a pylon and a cannon, and then the base can't be attacked by ground easily, unless the enemy takes down the rock. And that gives enough time for the defender to like go and try to clean up the enemy area. This little high ground will probably need to be reduced, something like that. Again, it is better to have an area that is like slightly too open than an area that is slightly too choked up. You could even have some line of sight blockers in here, something like this, and have this area be like kind of a spooky area where Protoss players would like to place like some Stargates and whatnot for like dumb little for dumb little attacks and proxies, or just a single pylon and warping some turtles and send them to a rust and whatnot. That would be like an actually very good idea. Yeah, I think that is all. There isn't like huge glaring issues. It's just like, well, besides the ones at the start, it's just all of those details like sum up together. This little ramp, stuff like that. Where did the rocks go? Oh, I erased them. Stuff like that. Let's see. What is the next one? This is receptor terminal. Blacktop. Is there like any detail? I'm not sure if I am like live still. Probably am. Is there like any particular detail that you guys, Time or Pancake, or I'm not sure if Miavis is still around, or Negative Zero, any detail that you guys would like for me to check out, or like any particular topic when it comes to like map making or the judge panel or something like that? This mineral line, it's always tricky to have them this way, but I think it works all right. Maybe the main base is like slightly oversized, but just like slightly. You could push all of this area back some, probably. Like sacrifice the cliff, the square cliff, in order to get like a better spacing. That's always a good idea. Oh yeah, so pro gamers didn't like the tiles, that they found it ugly. I think that they are some heretics, because the brute war tiles that are always the best. This texture is probably too noisy, so it will do good for you to use like some other metallic texture, or at least use it in conjunction with a less noisy one, such as tiles or anything else. Natural third, because in this situation you have your third and your natural be in the same terrain height. It is beneficial to have them be like slightly closer, because I was talking about earlier with the terrain difference. Wherever you give the defender player the high ground, that allows, for example, for your third base to be like just that tiny little bit further, because the defender can like always retreat to the high ground and still kind of to a certain degree defend the base. But when it comes wherever the players are on the same terrain height, the bases are in the same terrain height, then your third base becomes ever slightly harder to defend. So in this case, I would recommend the third base to be like just slightly closer. It is already like very close, as you guys can see. It is just 44 units of distance, but that's still you could like get away with just a tiny bit closer. Yeah, this is fine. I'm checking, for example, Liberator spot, Overlord spot, that kind of stuff. This is like fine. it always can be tricky for example, the overlords to know if they are like visible or not, because it is just tricky to like, because the cliffs can be buggy and whatnot. But it will still work alright. This base in the same fashion, for example, this map I think could have be finalist over that negative hero map, just because of the fact it has like an actual like quasi alternative there to the one in the high ground. Just because of that. Oh, and also because it has this ramp in here, meanwhile the Ephemerion doesn't, and that lack of ramp makes it easier for Terran with like their siege tank pushes in the mid game or early mid game to do heavy damage to, for example, Protoss or Sex players. And this little ramp detail I think is cool, but maybe the map might benefit from not having it. It takes away from the map, that is for sure. But it is such a detail, I'm not entirely sure. Something like that. Really, it is up to you. It is up to you. Either way, it could work either way. I still think I prefer it this way because reasons. I really can't really express myself very well as to why I think this might work better. These little high grounds, I love them. I always love them. Oh, also, there's this bug in here. You need to remove the ramp and re-add it, and that will go away. Something like that. There you go. What else? The pocket base, it works alright. Maybe it is probably too far. Yeah, it is too far. For a fourth, absolutely. Yeah, the spacing between the bases is slightly too far for all of them. I'm not sure how you can even fix this. You might need to like scrap the map and resize it and do it again, something like that. Sadly, this area might benefit from like being chained and just add some rocks instead. Something like that. Let me see. No, or maybe no. It really depends, because the thing that I'm thinking is that an army can pass through all the way through the north, and the south would always be like beneficial, would always be better. But I think like a small little gap in here will actually be kind of interesting. You can choose to go to the north, to go to the south with the high ground, or you can just choose to take down some rocks and have an alternative pathway. Maybe slightly choked up. Something like that. It will also, the map in its entirety will probably benefit from having like some more choky areas, something akin to Blue Storm, more reminiscent of it. This is one of the maps where you, as I was saying in the previous one, it is always better to have like a more open map than a more choky one. Well, this goes like slightly a bit too much the other way, I think. Slightly, the center might be slightly too open. But that's still like not a bad thing. It is still like playable in comparison to having a map that is too choky. This area, you can probably rotate the mineral line. I know that it was done that way, but I think this might be like more efficient with space. Something like this. Yeah, there will be like kind of a danger with the siege tanks, but that's still like something that can be overcome in comparison. to like using space inefficiently. As general feedback, it is just that I think maybe this ramp might be slightly too big, but not really. It's like just in the sweet spot. Regarding, for example, the distance between this to this, the distance, the size overall in here. I think that this area could be like cut, and instead you could push all of this area towards the left of the screen in here, just a little bit. No much stuff on. A good usage in the color palette. Honestly, it was very well done. It captures the feeling of Brood War without like actually being Brood War. The only thing that I might disagree it is like this usage of the ground texture. I think it would benefit just having like this be the ground texture and this be in the high ground. Not just outright copy Brood War, but try to capture the feeling of the textures and just implement that instead in a SE2 fashion. Okay, so the next one, the Teething Golf. Uh-oh. Okay. There it is. Okay, I'm going like my voice is like starting to give out at the moment, so I think this will probably be the last one map that we will be reviewing today. I don't want to be left voiceless. Let's see. Cliffing again. It is better. It is considerably better than, for example, some other maps that we reviewed today, but it still can be like improved. Yeah, something like that. Like, I know it looked fine before. It looks like kind of a little bit worse now, but try to improve more in the cliffing side of things. This kind of natural positioning, it's always tricky. So watch out. Try to not go like ham on them, because it is easy to screw up things. For example, in this situation, for CVC, watch out for this, because I'm telling you, because this kind of naturals like really like are prone to this kind of thing. In CVC, Zerg players always like to have their queens like around this area, around the main ramp, because in CVC there can be some very serious selling ramp-bys, and you will always want to have like at least 2 queens in the natural ramp, so you can be watchful of that. The issue with this kind of naturals is that because the ramp is forward in comparison to the hatchery, in comparison to like a standard ramp, your queen will always be around here instead of being like around here. It is something hard to express because I don't have like a comparison screenshot at the moment. But try to avoid these kind of things, because for CVC it makes it actually very easy for like a Zerg player to do a ramp by in comparison to another. If the ramp, instead of being forward from the natural entrance and to be in the back, similar to Cloud Kingdom, then it will be better. But because it is so forward in comparison to the natural entrance, it can be very dangerous. When it comes to spacing in the third, it is very well done, I think, for this kind of layout. This third optional, it is actually, yeah, it is excellent. I think you could get away with not having this and having like some 6x6 rocks instead, something like that, or maybe just do it like before, like I'm having like a very slim entrance in there, something like that. I'm not entirely sure. We haven't seen like this kind of stuff being implemented into ladder maps, so I'm not particularly sure how players will react to this kind of a scenario working in the third base. Maybe Terrans would like to exploit it with using like heavy siege tank usage. So I'm not entirely sure. This usage to do that looks like very good. It's so a very solid job in that. This Naga and the high ground is like not really a good thing to do. It like it is not that it is bad, but it feels like you ran out of ideas and you wanted to do something with the Cell Nagas. So I will always instead recommend you to do like something like that. Just have a little high ground. You don't need the Cell Naga in there per se. Unless it is something like very highly specific. But I don't think that it's like really necessary, at least not for this map. This area, I'm not sure if it's faithable. Yeah, it is, but it's like asymmetric. I'm not sure if that's done in purpose. I'll assume not. But it's still like it is a good usage of space. Usually, when we do like this kind of areas that are like between 4 high grounds or between 4 ramps, they end up to be like very choked, and this feels like not choky. Not I don't want to see like not choky at all, but I want to see like it is a good usage of space in comparison to what could have been like otherwise. Good cliffing, very good natural cliffing, I gotta say. It looks very well done. This ramp, I think this entire area, yeah, all of this should be probably be reworked. But the thing is that I can't give you pointers as to how it should look, but I'm saying that this area probably isn't the best executed of it all. It's like there were no good ideas, so you did this. That is how it comes out to me, the map maker. Not as a judge. As a judge, I will judge it from like a gameplay perspective. But as a map maker, I think it doesn't work. Like it doesn't flow into each other very well. Again, very good do that usage. I like the ribs and everything. From natural third, fourth. It works alright. I think this area would benefit from having like a diagonal rock, maybe. Something like that. But the problem is that having a diagonal rock, then it means that players can't expand very easily to this area. So it's kind of tricky. I'm always been a fan of pocket forts because StarCraft 2 has this issue with the 3 base cap, and giving players like a very easy to hold like pocket fort base allows us as map makers to overcome the shortcomings of the mineral gathering systems of StarCraft 2. Beyond that, there is not much that I can say. I think the main attack path, it is probably way too linear, sadly. I really like that you use this one, this little choke point in the center, but I don't think that it is enough to overcome it. Yeah, also this, yeah, I'm trying, the more that I'm looking at this area, it could be like just open, just like faithable area, because you have this high ground and you need this open area. You need to open this up, sadly. Maybe you could use the dark pools, do it something around the edge, but as a playable area, that needs to be done more openly. Yeah, I think that's like the main outlines of it. This area, you are also like spending a considerable amount of space into something that will not be used. You could push the main base towards the left in this case, and and make better use of the corner space. But yeah, I think that's all for the stream, guys. My voice is like my throat is like so sore at the moment. Yeah, checking around, seeing what kind of things could have been done better. This entire area, you have so much space in here. This entire area has like a considerable amount of potential. I'm not sure how to use it, because otherwise I will be designing the map for you instead of like giving feedback on it. Yeah, no, my throat is like giving out, and I really need to go to the bathroom. Sadly. Anyhow, guys, yeah, I think this is the end. The bot should be available, hopefully. If it isn't, I will kill myself and do it again. Oh no! But yeah, we'll try to do. Will be the TLM Liquid Map Contest iteration feedback after tourney. My main issue is that my current gig doesn't give me like too much time to do this kind of things. I really want to do like videos. Like I really want to do videos, more of them, because I know that you guys really like them and I have fun making them. The problem is that it takes me so long, and doing write-up takes me even longer than making videos. That's insane. That to me is like insane that there's that way. But wherever am I available, I will try to do like more of this stuff. Like be like streams, hopefully without so much lag. And yeah, no, I'm just like closing the stream. Hopefully the boat is like around ICL. Hopefully it works, because the last time that I made the streams, like I literally lost the BODs, and that hurt me, man. They were like so good. It was for I think it was for the Total Biscuit, like when I was doing like quality assurance for him. But yeah, I guess, yeah, I'm not sure. I think that's all. I hopefully be doing like more streams, hopefully, because as I said, I don't have the time for it. But ideally, I will like this. Probably like next weeks, I will be doing like other like stream review for the Team Mac Contest 11, and hopefully, if we have time, I will actually be doing like a stream reviews for the maps that we didn't had time for in the Team Blue Map Contest 10. That will be sick, actually, because Negative, New Sunshine, Avex himself have some very sick maps, and I never had the opportunity to give feedback on them. And it's something that will always like benefit you guys and me and Avex and everybody. I was looking forward to see what you wanted to talk about on the trail. Yeah, no, I didn't have the opportunity to talk about on the trail. Not now and not before. But yeah, we'll try to do like a stream next week. I don't want to promise like doing one tomorrow, because I really don't know if I will have like voice left by tomorrow. I don't want to like wreck my voice. I'm not used to like be talking for like 3 to 4 hours all the time. I will probably need to go make me some tea with honey or something like that. But yeah, guys, take care, and I'll be around in the Discord. I should probably post like an invite, because if there is anybody that has been following, oh my god, it didn't copy the damn thing. Invite people. Come on. Well, I don't know. ICL or Meavis or somebody else, if you guys could like copy paste an invite link, that would be great. To our to Avex, the Circle Mapper Discord. Anyhow, guys, see you around. If you need me, I'll be like around, hopefully. If you need, for example, a chunk cake or Valeki or Solstice, you guys can just send me like a private message in Discord, and I will try to like answer. Like I always like talk. I'm trying to talking with teammate, with ICL, with Miavis, with Avex, with basically all of the guys that like send me private messages and whatnot. I was be trying to like answer whatever available. But yeah, anyhow, guys, take care. See you around, and hopefully next week I will also be doing like one of these streams. Hopefully with like better preparation, like getting my camera drivers, so it is not just my voice in the with the editor. Anyhow, guys, take care.